All right, House of Payne fans, season 12 finale, True Measures. First of all, I am happy that this episode did not end with some stupid, oh my god, did so-and-so die plot. We did not need that. 3 seasons in a row. First it was CJ. Did he die in a fire? Then it was Janine. Did her plane go down? Then it was Curtis. Oh no, the food truck exploded. Is Curtis okay? No, we didn't have that. We kind of had a random ending, you know, but it was cool. So I'm going to give the episode a 9 out of 10. I think that out of the 3 episodes of the night, it was the best episode. Definitely had some great moments. I think Curtis was just peak Curtis in terms of, like, this is a good man, a good father. When you get past all the, you know, comic relief moments, his selfishness and whatnot, he is a good father. We have a great scene with CJ and Jasmine in regards to her decision about college. And then Miranda had a great scene with Calvin. But I think that there was some elements of the episode that just really didn't work for me. The main one being Laura, because I just feel she was not properly utilized at all during this episode. If nothing else, she was just a total load. She just came in, just... It felt like there was too much going on in the episode for her to fit properly, so she just showed up to randomly infuse drama, leading to a ending of a Dear John letter where I'm like, I honestly do not give a damn. So if she decides to leave for good riddance. But even though I don't exactly love the character, I don't think she's a bad person. And if she were to make an exit from the series, I think she should have gotten better than this. But, you know, I'll get into that later. So before moving forward, please take a moment to hit the thumbs up button to show you like the video. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description. And let's jump in. So basically the episode picks up or starts off with the sneak peek, which is essentially Pookie, Peanut, and Calvin over at the loft. Apparently Pookie's getting married, so I think they were like attending a bachelor party. You know, Calvin's phone died throughout the night, so nobody's been able to reach out to him, you know. So Peanut's on his computer and he's looking at, you know, different dating websites and whatnot, because unlike these two, Calvin, who has been married, getting ready to get married again, and Pookie, who's about to get, you know, married, Peanut is still out there, you know, sowing his seeds, so to speak, so he wants to have a good time. And then they clown Calvin for the whole, man, you got your password already on your computer, like when you log in like that, come on, that's foolish. It's like, nah, man, I mean, I ain't got nothing to hide, so Laura can, you know, check things out if she wants to, but we're pretty cool in our relationship. So again, they clown him for that. So from there, Miranda comes in, and it turns out Calvin Jr. has been going through some anger issues because Tracy is upset because she hasn't been able to reach Calvin all night. So she called Miranda. So it's kind of cool that these two kind of have a better relationship, like where, hey, if Calvin isn't able to be reached, I can contact Miranda and, you know, she can contact Calvin. So essentially it got to the point where Calvin Jr. was angry and he threw the keys at his mom, but seemingly intentionally hit her with the keys. So Calvin is pissed off, and this episode pretty much shows us what Calvin Jr., you know, or what Calvin feared about how his son viewed him. It's like he's always with his mom, and then she's probably filling his head with all these negative things about me, like paying attention to my other son, and, you know, I'm off of my other family. And the only time I get to interact with him is when he needs to be disciplined for acting up. So this episode, Calvin is just straight up mad and he's concerned. So it's interesting how you have Miranda there to try to calm him down from, you know, overreacting and whatnot, because he's acting out of anger, mainly due to his own confusion. It's like, yeah, I mean, you hear that your son intentionally harmed his mom, you're going to go off. But, you know, he's also like, why is this happening? So in any case, he's sent to his room. So in the midst of, you know, Miranda trying to calm Calvin down and trying to get to the bottom of what actually happened, Laura comes in basically saying, Calvin, I haven't been able to reach you all night. Well, yeah, you see my phone. And then she doesn't even want to hear it. She just raises her hand and she just walks out. So, you know, they're thinking like, wait, he's probably thinking, wait, does that have to do with Miranda being here? I don't know. But then Laura comes in the next day. She's like, Calvin, we need to talk about last night. And I don't think anybody's home. So she goes down to the computer, opens it up. And as I predicted in my sneak peek video, it has to do with the dating websites like Destiny. And remember, Peanut was looking up this kind of stuff last night. So she gets up and simply leaves. And we get technically one more appearance by her at the end of the episode. Supposedly, you know, she's the one that knocks on the door, drops the letter for Calvin to find, and then we hear her voice, you know, reading the letter, and that's it from her. But I'll talk about that in just a moment. Let's go back to the build up for that. So Calvin brings his son over to, you know, his parents' house and whatnot. And before they can go any further past the kitchen, Ella wants to talk with Calvin Jr., and she is definitely not playing in terms of, you know, when you do something bad like that to your mom, it's like a bad reflection. It's like, you know, in terms of you hurting the rest of the family when you lash out like that. So basically, he has some anger issues, and, you know, he's just, you know, being disrespectful, talking back. You know, oh, also earlier in the episode, it was established like he and Peanut kind of have this like rivalry over a video game, and, you know, he's just like a typical gamer. And I say gamer because this goes for young and, you know, older people too. Once they talk trash, you know, it's on. So essentially, Curtis just has a great scene with Calvin because, you know, he's angry, he's confused, he's wondering like what can he do in order to help his son through this situation. And Curtis just says like, hey, you know what? The first step is, you know, being there, you know, giving him time and understanding his son in this situation. Just, he gives him a vote of confidence, and I have nothing else to add to this other than just, this was a great Curtis moment. It really was. You know, he had to throw in a couple zingers there, like, you know, yeah, I know what it's like to do with a son. You know, I'm trying to figure things out myself. But, you know, it's just one of those things where he just tells Calvin, it's not going to be something that is fixed instantly, but showing your son that you care, that you want to get to the bottom of this and spend time with him, that's what really matters. And just this scene alone, it just really shows that instead of Calvin rushing in order to get married and whatnot, he needs to take time and focus not just on himself, but on his children, both sons, you know, obviously because he's with Christian more than Calvin Jr., but at the same time, he could still show Calvin Jr., I'm there for him, which is something that I thought we established earlier in the season. But for one reason or another, Calvin is just going through this, you know, mean streak right now. And he's lashing out. So later on in the episode, we got Peanut and Calvin Jr. playing a video game, which is something that, you know, Calvin told him, you know, no more games and whatnot. So basically from there, he gets mad and tells Peanut to leave because apparently, you know, Peanut didn't know that he was like on quote unquote suspension from games. Well, actually it's Miranda that comes in first, and Calvin Jr. is like, well, my dad said that a couple of days ago. So it kind of shows how passive, you know, maybe Calvin is with the discipline. Like, you know, oh yeah, you know what, you're grounded or whatnot, but then, you know, a day or two later they're cool, and then it's like you're not grounded anymore. So, you know, maybe Calvin Jr. thought it was something to that effect. But then Calvin comes in and just shuts the whole thing down. Basically, Peanut sent out, Calvin Jr. sent to his room, and yet again you have Miranda trying to, you know, calm the situation down. And, you know, there's a lot going on with Calvin's plate, not just with his son. He's confused as to why he's acting the way he is. Then the Laura situation. Oh, also, my bad, I forgot to mention this. When Laura left the first time, you know, when she was mad about the telephone or the cell phone, you know, Calvin not responding, Miranda's like, wait, what are you doing? Go after her. No, I'm not going after her. And I'm like, wow. And I think it has to do with, you know, he's more concerned about his son right now. And to be honest, I get it because, yeah, Laura is high strung, as Pookie and Peanut pointed out, but the fact that she left before Calvin could even give an explanation as to why he wasn't able to answer his phone just kind of shows that, you know, yeah, that's the kind of person she is. She just flies off the handle. Now, Miranda has a talk with Calvin. It's like, you know, wait, do you think that, you know, I'm the reason for all this situation going on with Laura? And it's like, look, I kind of have to be here because we have a son together. So it's not like she's being intrusive for once. It's like, look, I'm going to be around from time to time because we have a child, but it's like, you know, if she's up in arms about that, I mean, look, then maybe I can go out of my way and, you know, we can exchange where we meet up with Christian later on, it's like, no, 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 that's going out of your way. It's like, my place is, on route from you to come home from work. So basically, Laura's going to have to get with it or not. It's like, but she doesn't want on her conscience to be a reason for them to break up or anything like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then at the end of the episode, while on his computer, he gets I think a text from Laura, basically saying there's a letter at the door. So yeah, she must have, like a UPS person just magically showed up, dropped off the letter and ran. But then maybe after she got back to her car, that's when she texted him. So he opens the door, reads the letter, and basically it's her doing a voiceover narration of how, I'm calling the wedding off immediately because, I've been at this place before. You need to choose between Miranda, this chick named Destiny, aka the woman that Peanut was looking up on Calvin's computer, or her. And, I'll let you take the time you need to find your happiness. Just please give me some space in order for me to find mine, which honestly is a weird way of wording it. It's like, hey, the wedding is off. I'm going to give you time to figure out what you want, but then you give me time and space to figure out my own happiness, which is like, so are you saying even if I did choose you, not to bother you right away because you're going to try to find your happiness? It was just, like I said, I am not the biggest Laura fan. I think their entire relationship was fast forwarded when it had no business being, moved that quickly along. But this was just a poor way of writing her out of the series. Like, I don't know what's going to happen in season 13. Given that the filming and whatnot got delayed due to the strike, there aren't any like character descriptions and whatnot that have been released to my knowledge anyway. So I have no idea what's going to happen come season 13. If Laura's just going to be completely written off. But like I said, this was just a crappy way of doing it. But I get it. A lot of people are like, you know what? I'm glad she's gone. I don't care. I just want Calvin and Miranda back together. But yeah, it's just one of those things where it could have been handled a lot better. But in any case, Calvin Jr. gets his bag, and Calvin's like, wait, where are you going? What are you doing? I'm going home. I called Mom. No, you're not. You're staying with me the rest of the weekend. Man, I ain't got to listen to you. Man, chill, man. Whatever, man. It's like, I know you didn't just say man. So about 8 seconds later, after Calvin Jr. left, Calvin Jr., then he rushes out the door to go after his son. So I guess Tracy must have been outside or something, for him to say, I called Mom. So my thing is, if he doesn't catch up to him, that's kind of weird because, like, bro, you left 8 seconds after he left. And I mean, you're probably on a high floor, so he probably had to take the elevator or something so you can catch him on foot if you took the stairs. So if Calvin Jr. just up and left, I mean, like, what's the reason for him leaving? Was it because he got tired of, being yelled at his dad, or being, him being stern with him, or what? Like, we don't. Even though Calvin Jr. had a decent amount of screen time, I felt like we really didn't go in depth as to why he was acting the way he did. Why all of a sudden does he want to go back to his mom? I mean, it would have been a sweet thing. It's like, hey, Dad, I'm sorry. I called Mom because after everything, I just wanted to apologize and, just try to make things right with her. So I want to go home. That would have been different as opposed to, yeah, I ain't got to listen to you. I'm getting out of here. Maybe because of the enforcement of, like, no games and whatnot. But yeah, I guess because I don't know his age, but isn't he like a young teenager or something? So that could be what's going on. I mean, heck, my nephew, when he started middle school last year, he started acting like he has some hair on his chest too. And it's like, nah, we shutting that down quick. But it's like, you know how it is. Like, when kids get around older, kids and teenagers or whatnot, they start smelling themselves. But yeah, I really wish we could have done a little bit more with that storyline, but it was still good. So, yeah, Calvin not running after Laura, like I said earlier, I think it has to do with him just being more concerned with his son. It's like, look, Laura has these moods and I'm just not in the mood for it. I need to focus on my son. But like I said earlier, I feel like this is a strong indication that Calvin, yeah, bro, focus on your family, get married. Eventually, this definitely isn't the time. And if Laura decides it, even though it might seem selfish, but it's actually true, I feel like, maybe us getting married isn't for the best because you do have your own children already that need you more than I need you. Not to mention, if we do have children, there's going to be way too much. You can't spread yourself that thin. So, if they had a clean split, I would have been okay with that. But for Laura to just seemingly leave the way she did with a Dear John letter. I didn't care for that. All right. Now the other plot involving Jasmine, I think it's about 2 weeks or so before students go back to campus for college. So I guess at this point, this must be either summer or some sort of like, winter break. Yeah, basically it's the end of one semester and the start of another one. Or basically it's the break between semesters, and a new one is about to start. So Jasmine is still uncertain as to whether or not she's going back to school. And as someone who worked for a university for 3 years, that's something you kind of need to decide right away, or at least at the very least before 2 weeks before the semester starts, unless, especially when it comes to like housing and whatnot. Like, do you know what kind of hell it is to try to get a dorm room and whatnot prior to a semester opening up? So I don't know what's going on with that. But in any case, she's uncertain. Now, CJ is basically trying to pressure her into doing it, basically blaming, oh, I bet it's that Professor Lewis or whoever, who's having an impact. No, it has nothing to do with him. It's just that I'm not certain about what I want to do just yet, which goes hand in hand with the fact that time moves incredibly fast in House of Payne, where between episodes, there could be weeks or months that pass by and we just don't realize it. But, I guess during this time, she's probably still doing her social media thing and, hasn't really decided what her career path is going to be just yet. So in any case, she's heading out to the theater with a bunch of other students because the professor is meeting up with them to go watch a show. So from there, Malik basically says, Dad, if you wanted to take some advice from me when it comes to Jazzy, you just kind of need to make it seem like it's her idea. Instead of pressuring her about going to school, why don't you just say, oh, I agree with you, and then kind of word it smoothly where it's like, going to school would be her idea as opposed to you forcing her to do it. So from there, oh, and also, Malik has Jasmine's back in regards to, school isn't for everybody. CJ just, makes the very solid point about, not giving up an opportunity to go to school. Like I said, for her parents to fund it so she doesn't have to do student loans, do it. Just do it. I mean, like, if I could do it all over again, I probably would not have gone for as many degrees as I went for. And basically, I got a number of degrees because I finished what I started. But the thing is, I used a bunch of shortcuts and whatnot where it's like, oh, if I take this class and this goes towards multiple degrees, and, that's how I did my master's degrees and, undergrad and whatnot. And it worked out because I knew how to play the system so it wouldn't play me, even though it did, because student loan interest really sucks. But in any case, later in the episode after the play, Malik is playing with his baby in the stroller because we'll never see the baby on screen. But essentially, Jasmine enjoyed the play because, she described it and it pretty much, felt like it was Janine, like her life story on, on theater in regards to like a woman who was an addict, but then she came around and got back with her family and whatnot. So then CJ apologized for the pressure and, hey, I'll support whatever decision you make. But then Jasmine says, you know what, I'm going to go back to school. But my thing is, I think my career path is like, I want to help women who have been abused and whatnot. Basically, those who are typically ignored by society. And I want to change my degree to sociology. And she goes upstairs and yeah, CJ and Malik are happy about it. And I think it's pretty cool because in some ways it's almost like Jasmine is kind of doing, okay, that play is kind of what fueled her to make this change. But think of it this way. The play reminded her of her mother's story and helping out, like women who are, victims of abuse and addiction and whatnot. That definitely sounds like something Auntie Ella would do. So you see both her influence of Aunt Ella and her mom kind of playing into her career choice, which I think is pretty dang cool. I really like that aspect of it. But overall, yeah, that's all I have to say about the season finale. And I don't remember the last time I did a House of Payne review this long, but it was fun. It really was. So in that case, again, thanks so much for tuning in. Hope everybody has a great day. Like and subscribe. And that's a wrap on House of Payne Season 12.